So Thursday night it kicks off at Adelaide Oval. Collingwood get the better of the Adelaide Crows. It felt like a Collingwood home game in the end. I mean, with the amount of Collingwood supporters there. But there was one key member of the Collingwood list missing, and that, of course, was Bobby Hill. And just when Collingwood supporters thought, well, we're not going to see him at all through the finals, yesterday at Cardinia Park, a glimmer of hope, Damo.
Yeah, it was a scratch match, TJ. VFL hit out, and it wasn't even a proper four-quarter game. There were 3 periods of football. But I suppose the important part of it is he's back playing football in a competitive sense to a point. Now, hasn't been seen, apart from one occasion where he was subbed out on an AFL venue since round 15. Izzy, there's a trust issue from the football side of this. We know that it's the personal side, and that's the personal reasoning for him missing. But there's a massive question mark still as to whether we see him again this year. There's no guarantees by any stretch that he's going to be picked for this prelim final.
Yeah, I'm not privy to any of the information that's outside of the field, but I look at Bobby Hill as a package of what he can deliver in September. And if he's fit and he's firing, I'm making a coach's call and I'm picking him because I know he can make us a better side if I'm at Collingwood, and I know he can deliver on the biggest stage as well. So
you'd pick him ahead of someone that's done the work.
Well, you were talking about off-air integrity in selection. And I think you get to finals and integrity is about picking your best side and giving your club, your members, your fans the best opportunity to win a grand final. And to me, if you got Bobby Hill in there, that gives you a better chance.
I couldn't select him on preliminary final day.
Because of the trust issue?
Not because of the trust issue. He just hasn't played enough footy.
Yeah, so who do you leave out? Who do you leave out?
That's the difficult thing about finals.
They've got a couple of young players who have been playing, and there is a spot there for Bobby Hill, but I can't play him in a prelim on what I've seen over the last 8 weeks. And the last time he played AFL football, yes, he is a Norm Smith medalist. But at the moment, if I'm coach, and obviously I'm not and I don't make the decisions, but I would not be playing Bobby Hill in the prelim.
I mean, Rowan Steele is an example, TJ, someone who could come out of that 23. I don't think that's going to be a shock, but I'm a bit more with you, Brownie, on what I feel this has done to the group of Collingwood. We've seen Braden Maynard talk about this. We've seen Darcy Moore talk. We've seen Craig McRae give him the public hope and even refer to a conversation he had, don't rule me out publicly. There's a lot to happen here, and I think to your point, Rory, the integrity element about the other teammates, I think there's a bit to wade through on this one.
The other selection conundrum, I guess, for Craig McRae and the selectors is Mason Cox. Now, I was looking at the Herald Sun the next day. He got a 2 out of 10 rating. Would you play him in the prelim?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a conundrum, Jonesy. I thought he was brilliant and he played his role. And we talk about moments in finals, and yes, you look at De Goey and what he could do. But what Mason Cox did and played his role, you need these role players in finals. And it's this one here. He just hits the pack. A soft drop, and on the night you saw 5 or 6 soft drops from Mason Cox, which brought the players below his feet into the game, and then he was able to go into the ruck as that second ruck and have impact as well. I thought he played his role very, very well, and externally you look and someone doing votes might give him a 2 out of 10. I reckon Craig McRae would be sitting there going, that was a genuine win.
I didn't see that. 2 out of 10, I think that's ridiculously harsh because he crashed packs, he brought the ball to ground like Isaac said, did his job, wasn't the best man on the ground, but 2 out of 10, I would have been around the 6 or the 7.
I better double check that one while you're doing that, Rory.
Did you make that up, did you?
No, I don't think so.
Well, someone who wasn't a 2 out of 10 was Darcy Moore. He was the most impactful player on Thursday night for the Collingwood Footy Club, and this is why. So if we pause in a second here, I want to point, this is Adelaide Crows forward coming up high. Maynard's going to drop off, which means Fogg will come up and Moore will drop off. Adelaide Crows have been great at soaking up defenders all year, but that you just can't give someone of Darcy Moore's stature that amount of space. The other part that Adelaide Crows have been really good all year is this here. They normally leg drive and come corridor, use their hands, come running and carrying through the corridor, which means you can bypass Collingwood spare, because Adelaide wanted to leave Darcy Moore spare, very deepest, and the same thing from stoppages too. All year we've seen Jake Saligo, the big fridge. He normally runs and drives, uses the handball, which then means you can hit up a couple of your forwards, but I think this was just a byproduct of Collingwood's pressure, wasn't it, Isaac?
Well, that's the pressure of finals. And you look at Adelaide, they've been so good at using the ball this year and so good at giving those handballs, but they just got spooked a little bit, and they had a lot of players, I think it was 16 or 17, that hadn't played a final, and they'll learn from that. They'll learn from that. They'll feel the pressure. They'll play Hawthorn this week. They'll be better for it. But, yeah, Darcy Moore was outstanding.
They need to back themselves in from a contest. Need to back their legs in, their drive. They're strong, they're big. They need to run through with hands and make sure they break those lines.
All right, if you wanted to see the Collingwood DNA and what finals football is about, it was just inside the first couple of minutes of the third term. Have a look at this. This is the first tackle. Lipinski lays the first tackle. Second tackle by Houston. Ball jars free. They pick the footy up again, Adelaide. And time again, Houston, that's his second effort into it. Who's going to win this football? Collingwood tackle. It pops out. You know who's going to win this football. It's in their DNA. And then they get it forward. Then they're up and about. Jordan De Goey kicks the left foot snap. And that is what finals footy's all about. That is what Collingwood bring to the table. That's what they lost over those 5 or 6 weeks where they dropped out of the top 4 momentarily, back in, but that is Collingwood.
It was 2 out of 10 too. It just went through the back issue.
That's a big mistake, whoever wrote that.
Who did it?
Oh, don't worry about it.
Name names, Tony.
I don't know who did it.
What paper was it?
Well, it was the Herald Sun.
Right.
Anyway, that was the opinion.
And the other part that might have helped Adelaide too, I just want to run in through a few numbers here. I just felt like the selection was a bit out of whack. So these are all the backs that they had listed in for the game. There's 9 backs there, including Smitty, Brodie Smith, who was a sub, but Max Michelini played a role forward. When you've missed a long period of time, Izzy, I think it's important to go back and play a position that you're really comfortable with. He's one of the best defenders, if not the most important defender in that side, and I thought he might have been able to do a job on Jamie Elliott. But for me, that was just a bit out of whack. We saw Lairdy go into the midfield late, which I think was a great move, gave Adelaide Crows a little bit of a spark in there. So I think there might be a couple of changes before the Hawks this Friday night.
Yeah, they'll manipulate a couple of things, but that's the beauty of finishing on top. You get the second chance. You lose the first week. Everyone writes the teams off that lose the first week, but Adelaide will come out strong.
It is the Sunday Footy Show. Collingwood headed over the border and they conquered the Adelaide Crows. I know, Damo, you guys want to have a talk about some of the others, but for me, it was just great to see Darcy Moore come back to his best. You know, there was a bit of a fumble early in the piece, but then it was the Darcy of old, and finally the critics are off his back. But he had a couple of teammates.
Yeah, he did, and the leader there on the Collingwood scoreboard list, TJ, is the one I want to focus on, Jamie Elliott. Had already had 52 goals for the home and away season. I thought unlucky not to be All-Australian. And then first up in the qualifying final against Adelaide, kicks 4. He did it early, he did it late, he did it as he's done pretty much his whole life as a key Collingwood player at crucial times. And he still, I feel, remains as important as ever as he gets to this late stage of his career without a guarantee of what next year looks like. But he doesn't care right now. He's performing and winning qualifying finals for his club in 2025, Rory.
The amount of big games he stands up in is just phenomenal. It's unbelievable. He's so clutch. It's very, very impressive as a footballer for him just to keep standing up in those big moments. The other guy who stood up in a big moment with what was a big couple of weeks for him was Isaac Quainer. I couldn't have been more impressed with how he performed on Thursday night. He was outstanding down back. That whole back 6 group was incredible, but he was clean. He copped the boos unfairly, but he just helped set up the whole game from down back and was a pivotal part in this whole group. I just thought he handled himself with absolute class.
Tell you what, Jordan De Goey's game was good again. 2 weeks in a row now, through the midfield, 26 and kicked the goal. So Jordan De Goey, big finals performer, he did it again.
Anyone prepared to take Collingwood and go all the way?
Absolutely they can. I think it's wide open at the moment. I think Collingwood, Geelong, Hawthorn, anybody can win at the moment.
Said it before, I'll say it again. Head and shoulders.
Don't chomp them.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
And Joel Selwood did win 40
yeah, I did.
40 finals.
He did. I got that wrong. I apologise.
No, you didn't get it wrong.
Chat GPT got it wrong.
Yeah, AI strikes again.